And with me today is Sabina Gros, an amazing mentor, and he's also managing director at BPT, a company producing renewable energy, managing real estate, and also investing in startups. And we met through European Startup Universe Network, and I was actually one of the startups that she got to learn about. It never really worked out between us because we were really in a very different industry, but you know, network is everything, and I'm really glad that we kept in touch because, you know, now we have this beautiful collaboration. So Sabina, maybe you could tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Thank you, Anna. I'm really happy to be here right now. As you said, I'm the managing director of a company that is producing electricity. We have hydropower plants, so we really are contributing towards the green transition already. And since this has been our industry, which we know well, we decided that we want to also explore the startup universe, and therefore we decided to start investing about 3 years ago. And so far we made 3 investments in startups. We're also part of a Slovenian business angels fund. So we are looking into startups that are in the sustainable development. And also next to startup investing and being a member of Slovenian Business Angels Management Board, I'm also active in the Slovenian Management Association. So we do have a few connections also through there. So in case startups will be looking for expanding their markets into Slovenia also.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay, and yeah, like Sabina just mentioned, we are going to talk about green transition trends for startups. But actually, I mean, this is such a now such a trending thing. But how did you get there in the first place? How did you get into a company that's producing energy?
It's actually a pretty interesting story because I used to be a lawyer. I mean, I'm still a lawyer by profession, though I studied law and I worked at the prosecutor's office. And then the circumstances in our family company, actually, they needed me to come and take over the company pretty fast. So I really had to jump in and swim. So I made this transition from law to energy. It was also management. It was challenging to say.
Yeah, I believe you.
Yeah.
That's a big change.
But it's fun. It's every day you learn something new, and currently everybody knows at least a little bit about the energy markets. Sadly, but still, and we keep on realizing that the green transition really is something that needs to happen and needs to happen now. So yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, sustainability has definitely become imperative, and you know, what was something that was, you know, nice to have, now is an absolute necessity, and also a huge business opportunity. So many companies are getting into that, and there are so many startups. But I guess it all still happened like through the big players. So, is there? Would you say that maybe there is some inconsistency in like rewarding? Is there actually a place for startups to grow, or it's like taken a little bit by the big players, but the big companies, and you know, it stays that way for now?
I believe that startups have this advantage compared to big players. They are agile and they're starting from fresh. So huge companies like multinational corporations, they all have rigid processes. They all have everything set in stone. They're truly like they move slowly. So if startups move fast, if they show us that their innovation truly is something that simplifies the transition, I think that would be really a huge potential for a like something like Microsoft did or Apple did. I mean, and I'm sure that this is something we need the disruption in this field.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, I've done a bit of a research because, this is very, very new to me. And, I didn't want to fail. I realized that like 5 years ago, only like about 20% of S&P 500 had any kind of sustainability reports, but now it's almost quadrupled. So now it's about 71, 72%. So it's still amazing. I mean, they are slow, but they are moving there, and it's really great to see that.
Yeah, I mean, I think they realize that they need to do it, because investors expect it, and they need to track themselves also, which is maybe sometimes there's a lot of greenwashing, because I can show you that I did something net zero, but I don't tell you the methodology behind it. And it might seem like, so it does happen also, but at least they have this in mind, and they do understand that sooner or later there's going to be somebody saying, hey, how are you doing this? Why are you, I don't know, polluting or not checking your supply chain? How do they in abroad, how do they what are the conditions for factory workers or something like that? So
oh, that's very interesting. Yeah, I mean, I would definitely even, still want to learn more about that. But I know that you have a presentation. Would you like me to share it, or we'll just go with the
you
flow?
can, maybe it will be a bit more transparent.
Okay. All right, let's do that. Okay, there you go. You should see it now. Okay. Tell me if it's on. Oh, it's still loading. Okay, there you go.
You can just go forward to the third slide. I think it was
this one.
The first part, yeah.
Cool. All right. So could you clarify, because that's understandable, but tell us what's the story behind it.
So when I was thinking what would accelerate the transition, the first word that came up to me was disruption, because this is something that startups should do. This is like the epitome of startup is to be disruptive. And given that the way we do things right now, we realize it's not going to work for a long time. And since we really need to step up our game and we need to do it in a huge scale, we are going to need disruption. So they will really need to find something that will be huge in terms of the way we produce electricity or store it, or even how we produce our food, how do we package it or something like that. So they will need to be, as I said before, they will need to be agile with doing it. So they will need to pivot a lot or start really smart. And the simplification is, if we want to force people, or at least encourage them to do something, it will need to be either easier or cheaper the way we do it right now.
Right.
Yeah. So for example, for me right now, if I want to own an electric vehicle, since there's not a lot of charging stations, I'm really not incentivized to do it. But if there will be like a huge network, or the range will be longer, it would be much easier for me to do it.
That's true. I mean, I sometimes I look at this map where you can see the charging stations
Yeah,
for electric vehicles, and some countries are just full of it, and some countries it's just one one on one border and one on the other. So let's just fingers crossed we reach the border
yeah,
by
yeah.
the time we run out of energy. So that's really, I don't know. So I'm still, I'm still hopeful that it's moving. They are there, so they see the opportunity, but it's just so slow. So yeah, I think we still need a lot to learn about it. But as an investor, since you started investing, and it's not just you, but you have a team. Is there any learning curve for you guys that you have still to go through in order to like have this broader perspective, maybe about the startups in this industry?
Yeah, usually you don't really maybe you can't imagine what will be the consequences of their invention, or it's hard to imagine and project what will be also the acceptance rate from the broader community. And this is something it's really hard to understand, because usually in energy this is something that is a disadvantage. Everything they want to build, it takes a lot of money for it. So it's
Right.
only if it's a software company, but usually if you want to make some kind of energy storage product, you need it's hardware. So you really need to understand how this is going to play in the end. And this is something that it's really hard to project, to imagine. And this is something we are really trying to work on, maybe even model. But it's hard because you don't know how people are going to accept it. And also energy is pretty regulated industry. So you never know what they're going to come up with.
Oh, right. So there is definitely a risk of being too early with your investment.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And have you ever had a case like that?
Not so far, but there is one startup there. Hopefully they will through the pivot they will be able to. But yeah, they were a bit early with so they connect people with they connect designers with companies that have some kind of materials that can be recycled.
Okay.
But there aren't many of companies that are thinking about how to upcycle and have maybe an extra income, or use it as a gift. So it's more like a luxury thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, and when they started, that people were not as aware. So right now it's much easier to sell something if you say this is something that's upcycle, or this is a circular economy thing, and so on. So it was, maybe they were a bit too early, but other than that, right now we haven't had that kind of examples.
Okay. Oh, and I met this startup, the founders of the startup, and I should probably introduce you to them. But they're called Green Stream Music, and they are driving sustainability to music industry. And when they first told me about it, boom! It was so new. I mean, it's moving to every single corner, and it's just so unusual. And when they explained it to me, I had to learn about it. And I still think there is a lot to learn for like a general crowd, because I'm working with startups and it was still new. But when you're trying to explain it to, I don't know, maybe a manager at Universal Music, I kind of think that that's also something very very interesting and new. But What are the most like trending industries in tech for good?
Right now, I believe it would be. I mean, it's hard to really pinpoint five of them because there's so much going on. But probably it would be the electrical vehicles and charging infrastructure. So be it software for chargers. We actually we invested in a company that is creating some kind of like an operating system for charging stations. Okay. So I believe they have a lot of potential in growing. There's a lot of climate software right now, so how to track your footprint and so on, and especially since Europe is planning to implement necessary ESG reporting for all companies. Mostly, like majority of companies will need to, even the SMEs will need to report from 2026 or something. So this is really something that has a huge potential to grow. There's a lot of food startups. So yeah, growing lab raised meat or finding replacements, and also how to produce food in a more sustainable way. There's a lot of talk about energy storage. Yeah. So be it batteries or hydrogen and so on. So there's also a lot of funds in Europe regarding this kind of startups. And the circular economy. So how do we create less waste than we do it right now? And those are maybe the main 5 right now. But I think that also dynamic power usage, smart grids. This is something that's got really, really a lot of potential. I just read an article a few weeks ago that it was for Europe, but I'm sure that regarding what happened in Texas a few years ago, they also have a lot to do in the distribution system. So, and this is where the majority of dynamic users will be. And so these are the grids that will need the most, what do you say, they will need to be upgraded the most. So there is a lot of potential there. And of course, the looking for new ways to produce power, so renewable energy sources. Yeah, then there's this startup, Commonwealth Fusion. They're actually dealing with nuclear fusion. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I guess you're absolutely right. I mean, because we're doing our research and like we're trying to see what kind of startups, what kind of ideas enter accelerators and incubators around the world. And we just recently got this list of, I don't know, about 100 maybe startups that just recently I don't know, graduated from different programs. And yes, I think about 30% at least were somehow related to energy and food tech. And it was really very interesting to see, because I think we're kind of moving away from what startups used to be like when from like e-commerce websites and like from SaaS and stuff like that. So it's really, I think with this great increase of sorry, I'm just getting comments. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to update you on that. But yeah, with the way we learn about it and with the data, once data becomes available, I think more and more people actually think it's possible to change something. And that's why, again, I agree with you that startups are disruptors, and they have this test and try mentality that is going to help with that.
Yeah, according to Crunchbase News, for 3 consecutive weeks in July, green tech or clean tech company has led the way in the biggest round. So each week the biggest round went to green tech companies. So this is huge. This means it's really
right, and I remember you said that it's the only industry where investments are growing.
Yeah, it's I hope that the data is correct, but yeah, it's really the investments have dropped dramatically in second quarter, though climate software especially is really hot right now. So there's a lot of, and also from what I see regarding the energy storage, electric vehicles, there's really, yeah, there are a lot of investments. So it is actually growing instead of dropping compared to others.
Okay. Oh wow, that's that's very hopeful for the startups. But we have a question. Like, as an investor, what are you mindful of in terms of the type of industry where you invest?
So we are really focusing on sustainable development. So our main thing is this something that is contributing to actually to green transition? So this is something we start with. Okay. And if we believe this is then we go through because we believe that investor should also be a mentor and should help with the development, whatever the startup will need. And this is something we do have experience in. We do have some knowledge, and this is something where we can be of help. So yeah, this is the first thing that where we check. But yeah, mostly then energy is something that we really have.
Okay. Expert. Wonderful. And I know that we have a few listeners. So guys, if you have any other questions, or if you want to contact Sabina, if you have your own, sorry, I just went ahead and with that, but hopefully you don't mind. But yeah, should we go to this one, or?
Yeah. So we went already to the biggest trends, but if you go, so what's going on in how is it transforming investing? So since we already said that it's becoming more and more interesting for investors, so there's a lot of more money coming in, and ESG has been trending for quite some time. So this is becoming more and more interesting for the investors who maybe before didn't really want to bother with this industry, with this area. Though with more money coming in, we really need to then, startups need to be wary of what kind of money are they getting. So you want to have somebody that is really that smart money that can help you. So this is something to be mindful of. And with ESG trending, as I mentioned already before, there's lots of greenwashing. So sometimes investors would be like, oh, so this is going to help. I don't care what the true consequence will be, but it looks nice. So let's go on with it. There's lots of new investment possibilities. So one example would also be, since it's getting more interesting, especially with angel investing, there's syndicate investing, which has been here, of course, for quite some time. But here you can get somebody that is leading the way, that is an expert in this field, and they can drag others with him. So maybe they have some kind of connections. Maybe they're not an expert in this field, but they do have somebody else that they can introduce you to or something. So I believe that this is this could usually be a beneficiary for a startup if they go through that. There's a lot of development actually also in new investment possibilities. So you can get there's a startup that is actually working on providing new kind of financing for startups. So either being through so you will get financing in the amount of your yearly revenue, recurring revenue. Yeah, so ARR. and with some kind of discount. So this way you can grow more or less organically without getting somebody with equity in. So this is something not to dilute your share. And there's also, I think it's important to mention, there's a lot of institutional support, especially in Europe. There are plenty of new initiative regarding the green transition, becoming net zero, powering Europe, repowering Europe. So there's lots of money to get through that. Though you only get funding, you don't have some kind of mentor to help you, to guide you through. So if you feel like you have the know-how, you just need somebody to finance it, this is a great opportunity, because usually it's like non-refundable financing, or even if they get an equity, at least this is how from my experience, how it works, they're really not that involved. Okay. So which can be a good or a bad thing. If they're not involved and you need help, then it's a bad thing. But if you feel like you don't need help and they're not involved, then you can just do your own thing and grow.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, I absolutely agree with you that an investor probably should be a mentor, not like maybe directly involved in the operations, but definitely have some kind of knowledge. And even when we were pitching to you our startup, we kind of knew already when we researched about your work, we knew already that it's out of your scope, but you still go to try and pitch, to get some kind of knowledge, to see another perspective on your startup. So definitely I think another point of view is really important. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, institutional support, and especially since we're working mostly in the Nordics, it's very big there. Circular economy now is everything. But there are a lot of advisors as well, because once you get some support from the government, you don't really get the knowledge. But there are also new impact funds, and I think the like older, more generalists VCs are also coming, and they're picking up the trend because they see the opportunity, and I think it's gonna just grow.
Yeah. Last year it was the record in global investment in more in ESG so as a whole. So it was really it's becoming huge, and of course, since the biggest VCs are getting the hang of it, it means that there really is something there, I think, because they wouldn't go in if they didn't feel like they will get something out of it. Because we need to understand that huge VC, they need to bring something to their investors.
Yeah.
And it's not just we did something good, but there needs to be some kind of profit.
Absolutely. I think startups have a lot more choice now in choosing their investors, and that is also very interesting. I was talking to a few startups, and they actually started their operations like maybe 5 or 6 years ago, so they are a bit later stage now, but they're saying that yes, back then you would go and look for investors, but now they go looking for you, so it kind of shifted. It's really interesting, but I think there is also a lot of like transversal technology involved. So what do you think that means for investment for business angels?
Well, it's for business angels especially. I mean, they are at the beginning of the of the funding, and they sometimes they need to be maybe even more on up to date with all the trends and everything. So yeah, it's if you understand it, if you know the what's behind it, then it's definitely an opportunity. Yeah, for the people that are more keen in this area. So yeah.
All right. Okay, great. And yeah, I think we covered that. I'm just
yeah.
sorry, I have to control your presentation, and
No worries.
I'm not very good. But yeah, what is the global attitude? Like, why is it happening? Because it started apparently like 10, 15 years ago, but it was super slow, and now it's going. What is changing? Why now?
Well, I think that what's been giving the momentum is the recently there has been quite a few weather catastrophes. So people really are seeing. So right now we are in the middle of the, I don't know, third heat wave this summer. I mean, it's been really happening all the time, and since we are producing power from hydro, we track what's the water flow, and it's been the worst year since we've been tracking.
Oh, wow.
So it's really it's terrible year for us, since we have updated our hydropower plants, but it's been really in the last almost 20 years it has been the worst year right now. So something is going on. I mean, it's all, of course it happens, and it's not always the same weather, but still you know there is a lot going on. So people do understand this, and they're becoming more and more aware. There's also something that has really brought it to our attention. It's the fact that since the Ukraine war started, people really do understand that we need to, next to climate change, we need to do something regarding the, so having natural gas or having oil going into really high, the price is going really high. It means we need to do something in how either we use it or what kind of way, how do we produce it. So people are getting this sense of urgency more and more. And there's been, I mean, which kind of surprised me was that even in US, there are more than half of people, like 70% of people are really do believe that there is something that needs to be done, and it's to be done fast. So yeah, people are understanding. And I recently saw an article. It was about what are the 10 global risks, and 5 of them were environmental and 3 were social. So we really need to work on that, definitely.
Absolutely. But the access to data, I think, is changing everything. Like, we now use it as a tool in climate emergencies, and public awareness is really growing. So now I think more and more people, like I mentioned before, are thinking about going into that, with the breakneck speed and like change something. So it's really, I really adore it. But as you said, there is a lot of greenwashing, and there is still, I think, a threat of it all just hang in that trend area and never really moving into anything strong and real.
Yeah, I was a part of a mentorship program here in Slovenia, and our mentor, she's really, she's actually, she owns and runs a company that is, they're producing different food supplements, but also they produce honey.
Okay.
And so she's really into sustainability and how to help others also go through it. And she said that the first thing we need to do, we need to start with ourselves. So the first change that needs to be done, are you gonna take your car to work, or are you gonna go by bus or even by bicycle? Or are you gonna shop locally, or are you gonna go to
Oh, Sabina, I think I lost you. Is
Sorry?
it me? Okay. Oh, that's probably me. I lost you for a second. I'm sorry
Okay.
about that. Yeah, that's probably something with my connection. It happened
Okay.
today already. But yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And that's why, again, I adore what the Nordic countries are doing, and it really starts with them. And the wave is huge. I mean, everyone's talking about it, and it's just everyone feels the urgency of it. And I think I don't know. Soon we're going to go there, not to just. Sorry.
I'm really losing you, but I don't know if it's.
Oh, that's probably me. I'm so sorry about that. But
how can I will try to check, but yeah.
Oh, sorry. But yeah, I think it's
so I didn't
working.
hear what you last said.
Okay. All right. I just said that, you know, since we've worked with the Nordics mostly, we just see this tremendous, huge wave of green startups that are changing something, and they're mostly changing it for the local people and for the local communities, and they really know how to, you know, how to start with themselves. So it's an amazing, I think, amazing change. Okay, is it interrupted again? Can you hear me? Sorry, guys, I think we have some technical issues. Okay. All right. Okay, let's wait a moment, and I think Sabina is going to join us again in a moment, in a second. Okay, I will not share my screen. Okay, so maybe somebody has questions about that. Let me know. Maybe there are some green tech startups in our audience today. It would be great to hear your questions. Okay, Sabina. Okay, let's hope Sabina is coming back. All right. Okay, there you are.
Hi, I'm so sorry. I don't know what.
Oh no. Okay, we've got an issue again. And I still don't know if it's me.
Okay, are we on now? I'm so sorry. I don't know what's going on. Usually I have really good connection, but right now,
you know, maybe it's mine, but yeah,
no,
okay, we're on.
It was my connection. Yeah. Hopefully it will work.
All right.
Yeah,
I don't. Yeah, I was telling you about our experience with the Nordic countries, but never mind. Let's just. I have another question for you, and I think that's a very interesting topic. And this is also about transversal technology, probably. So, how is Web3? How is crypto changing changing the tech for good, because it's definitely moving beyond the early adopters. It's coming to the real world. So apart from, of course, like being mindful of the footprint that the actual mining it has on the planet, but what's your experience with it? How is it changing tech for good and the green transition for startups?
I believe that, yeah, since mining is definitely, if I just touch a bit on that, it's definitely not contributing. Well, there are opportunities regarding blockchain. For example, there are lots of startups in the field of connecting people, so creating like power markets. So I'm the producer, or I have a solar panel on my roof, and when I have extra, I can send it to you, or so on. And this is definitely something where blockchain technology could be useful. It could also be beneficial in the smart grid, like as a whole. So for the system operators, they could definitely use it there. But sometimes it feels like there's just a lot of talk about, so we're going to use blockchain technology, how is it going to help? I'm not really sure, but these are definitely two fields where it will be really, really helpful. Yeah, where you can use it. Okay, but it's all connected. All yeah, you can use it. The web is really coming into everything. So yeah, will be. And also blockchain technology regarding charging infrastructure. So how do I charge my car? How do I pay for it? How do I know which charging station is free, and so on? So yeah, that's
right. Amazing. And I also heard this cool trend. I really thought that it brings power to to the people and to startups. The culture strategy. So basically, within your startup, within your business, people are very mindful what kind of technologies they use, what kind of materials they use. So within the green tech startup, they are actually very mindful of being green. So this culture is also spreading like a wildfire. And what do you think? Is it going to change anything? Is it going to eventually maybe come to corporate world as well?
I mean, if we all do it, and if it becomes a habit, then definitely it's on its way to changing. And I can see also that it's coming into big companies. They are becoming more and more aware. They want to become paperless. They would encourage people to have, I don't know, they will prepare fresh fruits in the office. I don't know if it's true, but I heard from many people that they really think, should I travel, or can I just join virtually? So this is also something that we realized through COVID times, that you don't really need to travel everywhere for every conference or meeting. You can have a few. So this is definitely contributing. And as I said before, if you want to change something, we really need to start from within. And if I get used to, for example, not buying plastic water bottles, but bringing my own bottle with me, and if plenty of people start doing it, we do a lot. And if it becomes a habit for all of us, then yeah, this is definitely something that could influence the whole transition.
Absolutely. Okay. And maybe you could share some, I don't know, personal experience. Like, what do you do as, as a director of an energy plant, and, as an investor? How do you work about it?
So if you do mean me personally, like at home also, and or in the company? Because
if you can share both, please do.
At our company, we are pretty small, so there's not really like huge steps we can take, but still we got rid of all plastic bottles. So when somebody comes, they will be served water in a glass and in a glass bottle. We also we really think should this meeting, does it need to be done in person? Can we do it on Teams, for example? We try to, but it's hard. I don't have an issue with that, but for my older colleagues, usually it's a bit. So we try to be paperless. We use not print everything. I have everything almost on my tablet, so I'm really trying not to. At home, every Saturday we would go to the farmers market and buy from this lady. We know she has her own farm, so we buy her produce. And also the same goes for dairy products. We have also somebody that is that we go and take the milk there. I'm becoming kind of annoying to to my husband with the use of bags. So you can also use the not the paper bags, but textile bags for the fruits and veggies that you buy. So I have those with me every time I go either to the farmers market or to the shop. That's I would love to travel with my bike more, but since I have two small kids, it's
that can be difficult.
But and there's you can have instead of cotton pads, you can use it's also cotton pad, but washable cotton pads. You can use washable and so on. So we have plenty of those products.
The range of green, climate friendly products is huge. It's amazing, and I think it's just the fact that we got used to all of it being so fast, and just grab a plastic bag, grab your cotton balls, or I don't know. It's so fast, and it just takes some time to take a real look at the situation, and not a lot of people are ready to do that. But I hope I'm contributing to I did not have a plastic bottle with me, have my super cool cup. I think one of the last questions would be, what you as an investor would recommend to, maybe a green startup that is watching us? How do they approach you? What do they send to an investor who's ready to take a look at the project? Is it a pitch deck, or is it just a meeting? So what do you think?
Speaking really from myself, I prefer, so if somebody would contact us, that they also include the pitch deck, so you can at least take a look at it, what's and then of course a meeting, because you really need to talk through with them and see what's going on. But you really need to be prepared in the sense of you really need to know what's your competitive advantage. So what do you have that others don't? And also when you think about your product, be it a service or like a product per se, is it making something a lot more simple, a lot cheaper, and is it solving a real problem? There are a lot of real problems to solve in energy, definitely. So finding this problem is not that hard, but and also the more urgent this problem is, the more urgently it needs to be solved, the better. And as we spoke all the time about the urgency, so this is also something that there are a lot of boxes that are checked already if you're in this field. This is something we look for. So is it really doing something Like, is there some kind of effect, or is it more like how do you say, yeah, it's like a jewelry. I don't know how to, it's so, yeah, is it just making something more pretty, or is it really yeah, that's what I meant to say. So, or is it really a systemic change, not incremental change? Yeah.
Right. Okay. And yeah, oh, I had another question and it just slipped my mind. No worries, but okay, so you said it needs a pitch deck. I'm just trying to circle back to when I had this thought. Oh, okay, traction, of course. And yeah, in this field, do you and can you come to an investor with a certain traction, or it's kind of difficult to measure, and investors don't really care about it as much?
Well, if it's a software, so like climate software company, then it's good to have some traction because it's easier to test. But if it's not, then we don't really decide based on that. I mean, we two of those startups that we invested, one was just a few weeks ago. It was biodegradable candles. And yeah, he doesn't have any traction yet because, of course, he needed money to start the production. So that's why we didn't expect it. And also the charging infrastructure, so the operating system for chargers, they didn't have traction then, but there were other our other benefits that they had, and we kind of felt like this is really something huge and there's a lot of potential for growth. So that's why we went in there.
All right, so in that way it may be a little bit easier even to get an investment.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, hopefully, it's very valuable information. It was definitely for me because, I kind of always heard that, traction is everything, and no traction, no investment. So guys, if you're listening to us, this is very good. And yeah, like you said, again, I'm going to go ahead and just recommend connecting with Sabina. She's an amazing mentor, and even if if it's not a real match as an investment opportunity, I think she would really be able to give you some great points about your idea.
Yeah, I would love to. So feel free to contact me.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much, Sabina. I think that was a wonderful talk. Again, It was great seeing you.
Thank you, Anna. It was great talking to you. I had so much fun. So
awesome. Yeah. All right. Well, hopefully we'll do it again sometime. And yeah. All right. I'll stay in touch as always. Thank you, Sabina, and bye, everyone.
Have a nice day. Bye.
Bye.